world what it's like to have to be a true friend. And even while the so-called more powerful countries to the north, etc., grappling and fighting with COVID-19 virus, Cuba, with all the challenges that they have rushed to the rescue, or even some so-called first world countries like Italy and other Europe countries. So I say hats off to Cuba. Y Academic Committee to say in Spanish, si estuviera vivo comandante en jefe Fidel, hubiera dicho a Cuba que bien hecho mis hijos. The Petro-Caribbean initiative, of course, Dominica has been one of the beneficiaries of this initiative. And going across the country today, there's still a number of visible and tangible signs of this initiative, ranging from housing projects to the less fortunate, to filling station, roads, etc. So we of course hoping that in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, we critical the number of our economies, that we can now sit at the table and see how going forward we can reestablish, of course, the Petro-Caribbean and the ALBA initiative. So on behalf of us, of the government and people of the Commonwealth of Dominica, we would like to thank all of you. And again, of course, to remind our friends from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela that our support to the democratically elected government of Nicolas Maduro, and Dominica stands very firm. And we will, at every opportunity we get, speak out against the injustice and the planned injustice against the Venezuelan. Thank you very much.
Ahí está el compañero Camilo González. Saludos a Ralph González también, primer ministro, líder del Caribe y su defensa soberana. Adelante, Camilo, you have the floor. ¿Quién es este? Creo que será que empieza.
Are we being heard? St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Come on, technician.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, Foreign Minister Jorge Ariasa, other ministers, vice ministers, colleagues, let me first of all extend greetings and salutations from Prime Minister Dr. Ralphie Gonsalves, Foreign Minister Sir Louis Straker, and Minister of the Economy Camilo Gonsalves, who earlier was in the meeting. I extend apologies for him because he had to be called away to address a very urgent matter. With me here is the Permanent Secretary / Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Sandy Peters Phillips. St. Vincent and the Grenadines welcomes this meeting of both the ALBA Political as well as Economic Councils. The meeting takes place on the 15th anniversary of the birth of ALBA's sister institution, Ministerial. But it also takes place at a time when the entire planet is confronted by its greatest health hazard for a century, the COVID-19 pandemic. And the response of our ALBA sisters to Cuba and Venezuela has been exemplary. In the midst of their problems, they have reached out to St. Vincent and Grenadines and to other countries in the form of medical personnel facilities, testing facilities, etc. On June the 10th, ALBA held a successful high-level conference on the post-pandemic economy, where a number of crucial recommendations were made to lay the foundations for a plan by the Alliance to address the economic and social effects of the pandemic and map a way forward for our member countries. Colleagues, in its 16th year of existence, ALBA-TCP has been a force for good. Its contribution to the social and economic well-being of the citizens of its member states, and particularly of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is unmatched for its generosity and development impact. This tangible expression of solidarity ought to be even more appreciated given the challenge that Cuba, for several decades, and more recently Venezuela, have had to confront in the face of external economic aggression and threats of military intervention. The financial crash and subsequent economic meltdown in the United States in the late 2008, which plunged the entire world economy, with a few exceptions, into recession and economic chaos, triggered devastating impacts on many regional economies. When the worldwide recession struck and international crude prices rose exponentially as high as $150 per barrel, the Petro-Caribbean Agreement was barely 3 years old, but its positive impact was immediately felt in the struggling economies of its non-oil producing member states. Many were able to weather the volatility in oil market prices, evade bankruptcy in their economies, and create space for investments in their social and economic sectors on the back of a stabilizing force called Petro-Caribbean. Some political parties in opposition at the time stridently rallied against Petro-Caribbean. But once in office, they had to backtrack and gratefully embrace the mechanism, given the obvious benefits and the breathing space it provided for their battered economies. In that turbulent period, Petro-Caribbean became a lifeline without which the economies of some Caribbean countries would have collapsed. It is fair to say that the Petro-Caribbean Energy Corporation Agreement provided hope for millions of people during the decade and a half of its existence. It challenged history and the traditional concepts of integration. It has contributed immensely to a greater understanding, knowledge, and appreciation of the limitless possibilities that abound for cooperation among countries and regions with different economic structures, different social and political and cultural backgrounds. It helped to dismantle the superficial barriers which existed between Latin America and the Caribbean, legacies of a colonial past, and pioneered the creation of a wider space for regional convergence, which, notwithstanding all the recent challenges, can still be built on. St. Vincent and the Grenadines stands in solidarity with Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, and all the other member states of ALBA, and fully supports this new initiative announced by the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, regarding the relaunch of Petrocarib and its organic link with its sister integration mechanism, the ALBA-TCP. Sitting in the middle of the hurricane belt, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is extremely grateful for the proposed initiative to launch a humanitarian fund to address the fallout of natural disasters to which we are all so prone, especially in the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. Mr. Chair, out of adversity comes opportunities. This year, 2020, could well be a year when we overcome a lot of the challenges with which we are faced within the ALBA and within Petrocarib. I believe that what is happening now in the international political economy, COVID-19 pandemic, the street protests, Black Lives Matter, climate change, and all its attendant economic and social fallouts. All these can be seen as challenges, but at the same time, they can provide opportunities for us in ALBA and Petrocarib. There's a wave, and I'm very optimistic, a wave of resurgence where the forces are being realigned in favor of progressive, popular, social democratic organizations and parties and governments. And I do believe that we in ALBA and in Petrocarib, we can ride this wave and move forward in the next decade of this century with some optimism. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Hermano Ministro Kenneth Darroux, perdón, Andrés Wick, por su participación y efectivamente la cantidad de desafíos que ha tenido que enfrentar la humanidad y especialmente nuestra región a lo largo del año 2020, al mismo tiempo representan oportunidades que podemos aprovechar. Estamos viendo conectado desde Grenada al ministro de Relaciones Exteriores, Peter David. Adelante, querido compañero.
Thank you, comrade. Are you hearing me well? Thank you. First of all, let me, on behalf of the Prime Minister, on behalf of the government and people of Grenada, thank President Maduro and the government and people of the Bolivarian Republic for not only hosting this meeting today, but also for the role they have played in the Caribbean in this COVID period. Venezuela provided much needed assistance, and so did our sister country of Cuba. So on behalf of the people, I want to reiterate what I said on the last occasion in thanking you, and please convey to President Maduro our gratitude for the assistance you've given. I also want to salute Venezuela and Cuba for the 15 years of Petrocarib. Petrocarib, as indicated by my friend, the ambassador from St. Vincent, Petrocarib was, in our view, a saving phenomenon for us in the 2008 period when we were faced with both economic crisis and high energy prices. Petrocarib came along, and it was one of the highest forms of solidarity we've seen in this region. And for that, we are deeply grateful. And we also welcome the new architecture as proposed by the leadership of Petrocarib. I know a friend of the Caribbean is there, my good friend Raul Akausi. He's now with Petrocarib, and I know that augurs well for the Caribbean region, where my friend Raul is there. But to all of the leadership of PetroCaribe, I want to thank you on behalf of all of the people of Grenada, not only because it assisted in terms of tempering the effects of high energy prices, but also because of the ability it gave us to finance some of the social programs that were absolutely necessary for advancing the cause of working people in Grenada. So on the anniversary, on the 15th anniversary, I say solidarity, and let us continue the struggle to keep PetroCaribe. Despite all of the attempts to destroy PetroCaribe, it has remained alive for 15 years, and I suspect it will be with us for 15 years and beyond. Also, my brother Chair, I want to endorse the elements of the work plan as presented and the content of the work plan as presented for the upcoming period. And I want to salute the ALBA-TCP for engaging so strongly and so effectively on the issue of COVID and managing not only the direct and the health effects of COVID, but certainly the attendant economic impact it will have and the fallout it will have on small island developing states, as in the Caribbean, and other member states of ALBA. We have begun to see, I am also Labour Minister, and I'm seeing the impact. Every day I receive calls from businesses that are shutting down. You know, we are absolutely, and to a large extent, dependent on tourism. And tourism is one of the most impacted industries by COVID, and therefore the impact on our economy is going to be very serious. But we have been mitigating, thanks again to the assistance given by our sister countries, sister members and brother members of the ALBA. And again, I want to reiterate our gratitude for coming forward, but also for presenting what we believe is a work plan that can be very effective in mitigating these difficulties. Firstly, the ALBA food security plan. We have seen the impact of COVID on food security. There is an urgent need to boost agricultural production aimed at increasing levels of self-sufficiency, not in terms of Grenada or any particular member state, but self-sufficiency within the context of ALBA-TCP. I want to welcome that as an excellent initiative, and that is in addition to the promotion of health safety. I, as Minister of Labour, am also very much involved in health and safety issues at the level of the workplace and at the level of the community. So I also want to thank ALBA-TCP for this part of this plan. Additionally, we must work, as I said on the last occasion, to ensure when vaccines become available, countries like ours have the ability to access it. And all of the other health issues raised in the plan, all of us have it before us. I want to endorse the health issues. I want to endorse the food program. But importantly for Grenada and other islands is the issue of intra-island and intra-country transportation. It has always been, in my view, one of the tragedies of the post-colonial era that we do not have sufficient connectivity between Central and South America and the Caribbean. Despite our closeness, it geographically remains separated because of lack of intra-regional transportation. So I want to support intra-regional transportation, not only at the level of air transport, but also sea transport. I see the proposal here for assisting LIAT. Many of you will be aware that there's just been an announcement by our brother Gaston in Antigua about the liquidation of LIAT. I agree that we have to find a way within the ALBA-TCP to do something to ensure, if not the survival of LIAT, but certainly the continuation of intra-regional transport extended beyond the Eastern Caribbean to include Latin America, South America, and Central America. So I want to again endorse the need to strengthen and support intra-regional ALBA transportation, not only because of tourism, but also because of the agriculture that is mentioned in the previous paragraph. If we are to move goods and services around the region, particularly agricultural products and the people with respect to tourism, there must be effective transportation. This is an issue that has confronted CARICOM. It's an issue that has confronted all of us in the region, and one that ALBA can play a significant part in helping to alleviate. So I want to welcome that, particularly in the wake of the announcement from our brothers in Antigua with respect to the future of LIAT. Also, the issue of the new Petrocari venture, the new, as announced by President Maduro, the new initiatives within Petrocari, we also want to extend our support for that. I see in the plan, it reads, the occasion is appropriate to once again invite the governments of Grenada and St. Kitts and Nevis to adhere to the constituent agreement of the Bank of the ALBA. I have indicated to the brothers in the ALBA Bank that I will ensure and do as much as I possibly can to ensure that the government of Grenada does join and does do what is necessary to make it an effective membership. And lastly, Brother Chair, I just want to comment, I'm not going to comment on everything, I'll comment on the fact that the humanitarian fund, the ALBA Humanitarian Fund, I think it's an excellent proposal, primarily on the eve of the hurricane season. The Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela was very kind to Grenada post Hurricane Ivan several years ago. In fact, we have a Bolivarian housing settlement in Grenada that the Bolivarian Republic contributed to, and remains a testimony to the relationship between us. But we have to look at a humanitarian fund, and I'm happy that the ALBA-TCP will look at that in the context of the future work plan. So again, I just want to thank all of the ALBA-TCP member states. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to deepening the relationship between us. And I want to highlight the importance of consolidating and expanding the cooperation between all of us. And with respect to ECLAC, CELAC, Africa Union, beyond the ALBA, to consolidate the relationship with other regional organizations, particularly those like the Africa Union, like the CELAC, where our interests and our ideas can certainly bear fruit. So again, thanks for having me, and thanks for the work done on behalf of the people of the region, and on behalf of the people of Grenada. I want to extend deepest gratitude to Cuba, Venezuela, for the work you have done, and to our brothers and sisters in Nicaragua who have been with us all along. Thank you for the work you are doing to assist the peoples of the region. Thank you, Comrade Chair.
Peter David, siempre le mando saludos al presidente Maduro, a su amigo Pedro David. Un saludo al primer ministro Mitchell también, desde nuestras tierras. Hay un tema importante que el ministro Peter David estaba presentando, que es un anuncio que hacía hoy el primer ministro de Antigua, Gaston Brown, referente a la línea aérea, que ha sido la línea aérea que ha conectado sobre todo al Caribe Oriental en los últimos años.
To boost financing to LIAT and working with the airline Conviasa. I don't know if the comrades from Dominica, Antigua have more specific information about the steps to follow with LIAT to see how we can strengthen from the ALBA this new situation, and how we can make that a new airline can be born in a speedy manner and with enough strength to connect our peoples, as Minister Davis also said, not only for the tourist activity, but also for the productive and agro-industrial, agricultural activities and the social interconnection which is required between our peoples. I don't know if any of the member states from the Eastern Caribbean has any information on that, so that we can start and with our teams to analyze the possible scenarios on this issue. I wait for your answer. And in the meantime, I would like to remind to all the member states that the political council must determine who will be the new coordinator, the new coordinating country of the Economic Complementation Council. So at the end of the statements, we are going to define that. And in the contingency plan, maybe this decision is more important. So we have the proposal of establishing an economic complementation office of our alliance in Caracas under the sponsorship of ALBA and with the financial strength and the capacities to have the best talent in the analysis of the best economic scenarios for our regions. If there is no objection to this proposal, we give the floor to the people from the Bank of ALBA to tackle this issue of economic complementation, and waiting also for a representative who is present in this technical office in Venezuela in a permanent manner, fulfilling the duties of visiting constantly the countries of ALBA. And we're going to assess the flight restrictions, but we consider that ALBA and Petrocaribe must move to the meetings with governments and joint ventures. So Raúl Icausi must work there as secretary, and the president of PDV Caribe and PDVSA, Randall Peña, so that within the shortest term, President Maduro, who is sent greetings to this conference some minutes ago, we should establish terms to the objectives and goals of the proposals and start to see results as soon as possible. It is not time for diagnosis and analysis. They must be permanent, but this time is for action and to have an actual impact on the economic and social reality of our peoples. We have to keep that in mind and have that very clear. I don't know if the technical teams can tell us if Antigua, St. Kitts and Nevis are present. Are you online? Antigua had to